In a better world, at a better time, it would be a huge problem if someone 5 years ago, 10 years ago, said something that was sexist or homophobic or racist. Darlings, we do not live in that world. As we all know, one of the hallmarks of supremacy culture is the expectation of perfection. And we are doing that a lot when it comes to people who are vaguely, roughly at least, on our side. We will mine the depths of the internet and pull up things that someone said that was off from X period of time ago. We are so quick to use condemnation for past misdeeds that are, frankly, not that big a deal, especially if you really think about the world in which we live. I wish we had time to call people to account for growing up in a racist society yet saying something racist. But that's what happens. Do we expect cis men to have behaved well their entire lives? Do we expect anyone to have behaved well in any of the places where they have privilege through their entire lives, growing up in a society where you are taught to use your privilege essentially to keep other people down? That is the world we live in. And that is especially the society we live in, since we live in the imperial core, since we live in America. Am I suggesting that we forgive everyone for everything? Absolutely not. But I think it's not a matter of forgiving a person as much as understanding where people come from and where they are now. We absolutely do not and should not align with people who are deep, deep in the right-wing fever swamp, who are willing and able and interested in basically destroying the rights of entire sections of society for whatever problem they have. But what we do need to do is remember that 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, none of us knew what we knew now. We are all on some sort of learning journey. And frankly, some people, some spaces are absolutely insufferable about being completely and totally unwilling to forgive people for slips of language, for not having their ideology completely correct in terms of what we want to be doing going forward. But darlings, we ain't got time for that right now. We are going to need imperfect coalitions of imperfect people because guess what? We are all imperfect. And I've said this before, and I will say it again now because I think it really applies. I feel like it is easier to police, and yes, it is indeed policing, people who are closer to you in ideology because you have access to them and you want them to do better. I get it. But I think you're using that as a stand-in for the people in your life who are antithetically against you, that you are linked to because of family, because of tradition, because you are stuck with them in some way. So you take out on people who are closer to you the conversations that you wish you could have with people who don't give a shit about what you believe. And that is holding us back. That is stopping us from moving forward. 10 years ago, I, politically speaking, may as well have been a different person in terms of the amount that I know now. Now, morally, ethically, in a lot of ways, I was very much the same person. I haven't changed in that way. But in terms of the language that I use, in terms of the knowledge that I have about a range of different issues, again, I might as well be an entirely different person. And so if you looked at things I said from 10 years ago, you wouldn't find egregious wild stuff because I didn't have to go on that kind of journey, thankfully. But you would find things that where I didn't use the language that I would use now. Similarly, some of these topics are being learned about as a collective in real time, over the internet. And again, I will never underplay how important social media is for the amount that we are all able to know and learn about the world quickly. But we can't ever forget that we all are learning, that we can't hold something against someone that we ourselves just learned, maybe we learned it 5 years ago and they're just learning it now. Beyond even small things, small mistakes like language, people make pretty big mistakes in life. And we have to understand that that's okay too. And acting like there's not a difference between obvious, serially abusive people or people who don't care and those who just need to have a little bit more of education or a little bit more understanding, there's a big difference and it's pretty obvious, and we often act like it's not. Now, to be clear, I'm not asking anyone, especially marginalized people, to traumatize themselves in order to educate someone else. I am saying that work needs to be done by someone, and it should be done as kindly as possible if the person is there in good faith. Do I wish we didn't have to do it and that we could just toss everybody who wasn't perfect right out of the jump? Sure, that might be great. It would be easier and faster, but that's not where we are. Whatever else you've been told about other countries, and the irony of this will come very soon, but whatever else you've been told about other countries, America is the most propagandized place in the world. Whether we're talking about sports or about entertainment or about media or about our military or about our economic system, anything, it's all lies. And we all believed some part of it until very shortly ago. And maybe we still do believe some of them right now. Be proud of what you've learned and be uncompromising about what you believe, but be understanding and understand that we need as many people as we can get, even those who have further to go. If being involved in the work of making a better world is about superiority for you, I highly suggest you find a new venue. Do not use people who are just now learning, who are just now waking up as your spiritual scratching post, when what you really need to do is go deal with those people who are in your family who are actually antithetical and antagonistic to everything you believe. That's who you're really mad at. We need everyone we can get right now. And the only way to get those people to join us is to be kind to them, to treat them like people. Because this is not about us or our feelings. This is about what needs to be done to literally protect our ability to live on this planet and to save countless thousands of lives, maybe millions of lives, from destruction very shortly.